Is everybody in? John, you're going to unmute? Or just use mine if you want. Yeah,
You
we're
can
close.
hear from me.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to amend my earlier motion that we go to executive
Is
session
everybody
with some
in?
personnel issue to do. an
John, you're
interview.
going to unmute?
Okay.
Or just use mine if you
Yeah.
want. Yeah,
You
we're
can
close.
hear from me.
Yeah.
And now make
Okay.
a motion to come out of executive session and proceed with our normal agenda, our normal meeting.
Can't you do it?
Second?
No, because it's coming from your browser.
Okay, all in
On
favor?
the bottom.
Very good.
It's open. One of your internet things. Yeah, so just pause it on there.
Right there?
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah, there you go.
Love this. Love this. I didn't even hear what you said, John, so. Is the motion finished?
Yeah.
Did we explain what we were doing in?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we had a little technical difficulty. I need Andrea's
Right.
help. We all set? Okay, I would ask if, now that we're back in the regular meeting, if everybody would stand for just a moment. And join me in a moment of silence. We have had two sad events happen in Unionville, probably more, but two that we want to share with you. We'd like to, at this moment, reflect on two of our very special residents who recently passed away. And one was Nancy Ann Costa, who passed away in the month of January. And then most recently, Avinash Harandranu, who passed away last weekend. Good Godspeed. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. First off, we'd like to approve the minutes for January 19th, 2022. Do I have a motion? May I have a
So
motion?
moved.
Is there a second? Great. All right. Everybody in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, first up, I'm going to have a town, let me just go through my supervisor's report. We'll go through some financials. First of all, for the month of January, we were at 98% of our revenue goal, which is unusual. And we were at 103% of our expense goal. And I was going back to look at what was going on, and we really did have interesting things. You're talking about propane in the buildings line. We had an emergency repair for over $1,000, which was unusual, but also our propane bill was $1,200 for town hall, $1,276 for town hall, which was, high. And then also we had, one of the big numbers was the 77,623, which was the actual deposit for the emergency roof for the equipment shed. So both of those, all three of those events kind of contributed to our going over a little bit on our expenses, which is, again, very unusual. So we were at 98% of revenue and 103% of our expenses. But we know why, and we know that that should be a one-off event. We're going to transfer money from the fund balance to cover the emergency shed when the whole thing's in.
Mhm.
From a cash standpoint, cash balances now, these are not savings or fund balance or anything like that. So please don't get confused because there are liabilities against a lot of our cash. But in the general fund, we have $1,784,703. In the highway fund, we have $258,047, and 140 of that is in reserve. The reserve account's at 140,676 with this year's budget. And that reserve account is the one we set up for, so that we could have money put aside for those big expensive trucks that you use to push snow around. So we're getting there at 140. The town board members have received their cash receipts journal, the building department report, all the deposits for the month. They've also received, or they will receive today, I think the email was sent out for the abstracts, which is a list of bills we paid for the month. So the escrow and the town budget versus actual. So the councilmen have gotten all the financials. And at this point, I just wanted to divert, just get away from financials for a minute because we're in good shape. And I'm waiting for the final bill to be paid on 2021, and then I can give you a recap of 21. But I will say that there's a few things going on that that I want to make sure everybody's aware of. And one is the town has been participating in these climate smart programs. And the reason that's important is that, first of all, the climate smart coordinator that the board approved last year was Jen Rubo, and now she's the chair of the CAC. So she was a wonderful find for us and easy to work with. But we worked on climate smart activities all year. We also, and when I say we, there's a group of volunteers, and Michelle Gluck, she worked for the Cornell Extension, and Jen Rubo was a volunteer as the Climate Smart Coordinator. But as far as staff, Andrea Casey, Jake Gosnell, and myself, we had regular meetings all year long, and there's a time commitment there. But I'm mentioning it because the second project we jumped into was a Town of Unionville Climate Smart Planning Tool, where we worked with Michelle Gluck. She came in and she went through and she analyzed all our areas of strength and any vulnerabilities that we might have in areas of opportunity having to do with climate, meaning a lot of it's water. I mean, she looked at lots of our policies and procedures and some of the things that Ed and his crew were doing on culverts. There's a lot of stuff. I get 5 emails a week about the culverts and about water and all that that's coming from the state. That New York is really involved in this. Michelle will be our guest presenter next month because she's kindly, there was a grant that took care of this project. We didn't pay for it. And so we now have a lot of these things we have on our to-do list, not all of them. There's some good ideas here. So she'll come to the board meeting next month and present her ideas for us for the future, which I think will help again with water. And, there's a whole natural, there's a lot of good information there. So stay tuned for March when Michelle will be here to present the climate smart planning. And the third project, which is a countywide project with 7 towns in the county, is Cappy Duchess, and the Cappy is Climate Action Planning Institute. And this, we've kind of gone through the first 2 programs to get to the third program. And I'm mentioning it because the county is ready to get started. They've been waiting for 2 years because of COVID. They kept putting it off. But this is a partnership, 7 or 8 towns with the county as lead and basically with NYSERDA. And they're going to do things like we have to have a couple of volunteers and a staff member, and we will measure greenhouse gases and all the stuff that New York wants us to do. But by doing these actions, we can have access to a $50,000 grant. Things that are really meaningful, some of the things that we've got on our list that we want to do. So we're jumping through these hoops and we're going to do all this stuff, but there's a purpose at the end. And at the end, we learn a lot. So I just wanted to share that with you because I think it's important. I also we'll get on with the meeting. I wanted to make sure everybody knows that we have hired a library services coordinator, a woman who'll be starting soon, in a week or so. And she will be helping us with all the website and the online, this concierge library service that we envisioned last year. But unfortunately, our coordinator had to go live closer to her granddaughter. So now we have a new library services library services coordinator coming in. So that program will now reactivate. So people will be able to get their help on all the services that we have and that we're paying for to be online. It's kind of a unique service, but it's what we have to provide our residents that don't have anything. And then later tonight, we talked about the library consultant and approved that motion in the last meeting that we're going to have a report on. And finally, interestingly enough, I did confirm that we have 4,558 population. We're down 275 people, and we have 1,587 households, which I thought was interesting because for 2 years I've been thinking we're around 1,800, 1,750, but between now and the last census, we're down to 1,587. So we have lost about 171 households. So interesting statistics that come into play. It'll go up again over the next 10 years, but every town had the same thing happen. And we know what's going on in New York. So I just want to mention that to you. And that is the end of my report. So now I'm going to, I'll go this way and we'll go clockwise. Councilman Gustikoff, would you like to make a report?
I'd like to make a report. We spoke a little bit.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. We spoke a little bit about last time about possibly putting cameras in strategic places around town where, first off, we have possibly kids damaging the boathouse down at the lake. We've had over the weekend, a lot of garbage dumped on West Clove Mountain Road. So possibly it's an inexpensive way to maybe track and
Yeah,
figure out who's doing this damage to the town,
Tompkins Road,
Tompkins Road. So,
Kevin
it's
McGivney
been-
had
it-
one.
yeah, it's been happening over and over. So going forward, we can possibly post some signs that there are cameras around, which there will be cameras around. And, it's a pretty easy task to mount these trail cameras in trees and stuff and on both ends of the roads and try and,
That's
deter
great.
people from doing this further.
Mhm.
So it's an avenue that we're going down to. I think it'll be pretty
So we'll just
productive.
have to purchase the cameras and then install them and then
Install them.
check the batteries. I think we
And-
talked about this last time.
Well, they also have like a little solar panel, so you don't even
Right.
actually need to
Yeah.
tend to the cameras themselves. They're pretty inexpensive. And then they would actually go to somebody's cell phone. So as a picture is taken, whoever it may be, John is
Jake,
anybody. So.
he walked in, so his name is up.
Yeah, so at least we could try and then I think maybe once the word is out that we're scanning these areas, it'll keep these things from happening again.
Yeah.
That's great.
Very good.
All right, so we'll get the plan going on that.
Yeah.
Good, great. Anything else? Councilman McGivney?
I have nothing this month.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councilman Derlin?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you.
All set. You've got more, we're going to be talking later about some of our projects coming up. Councilman Welch?
Yeah, I've been reading up on this moratorium plan and getting familiar with it. Thanks for referring that publication by James Cohen of the New York State, which really gives a good oversight and insight for people on both sides of the moratorium, either developers or government people. So it was very beneficial.
Great. Well, thank you for reading it. Okay, now how about our town highway superintendent? You've got some updates for us, sir?
Not a lot.
Is he unmuted?
Obviously, everybody knows about the storms we've been having. We are burning up a lot of salt, especially with the ice storms,
Yeah,
but I think our roads have been pretty decent comparatively to others. The one issue that we do have is ongoing, and we warned in the past about parking on the roads. We are now giving out citations via the constables of the town. So you'll get a warning or two, and then you're gonna get a citation. So you're well warned. We started some tree removal. We've got about 30 trees down now. We've hired a crew to do that. We are actually cleaning up behind them.
Yeah.
The better, what would be fireplace wood will be left on the side of the road until the spring. If it's still there in the spring, we will remove that. But the rotten and trees that are too big for someone to use for firewood, we're disposing of that.
does that mean you're chipping it up or?
It goes to the town of LaGrange. We have a contract with
Yep.
LaGrange. LaGrange chips it, and they have a recycling process they're doing over there. The progress on our building that failed, the machine shed, the roof is on. We are about 85% through with putting the electrical back in. The heating system is going back up this week. The only thing that's holding us back now is the overhead door contractor is overwhelmed like so many others, and he's
Yeah.
promising us the doors will be in by the end of next week. So that'll put that building 100% by the end of next week.
That's great.
We did not put the insulation in yet because we may have to put some bracing in for the doors. So once the doors are in, the insulation will go in right away and the building will be complete. So thank you for letting us get that fixed. We do have some trucks that are
Perfect
down
timing.
and being repaired. Do we need to go through that, or is the board clear on what's?
Well,
going
I
on?
think it would be great if you could explain, they have the estimate in front of them. You want to explain that truck's
This
issue?
is This particular truck, which is a little bit. What the word is for me, but it's a 2004 truck, so it's 18 years old. It only has 120, or it only has 25,000 miles on it. Due to the corrosion from the salt, it's eaten away the wire harness that feeds that controls the transmission. And also destroyed the electronic control module for the transmission. So we're looking at an $8,400, $8,500 repair on that truck. My opinion on these trucks is they've got such low miles. I just don't see how I could justify a $250,000 truck that's only got 25,000 miles on it if we were to buy a new truck. I just don't. It makes, I'm trying to wrap my head around buying a new truck. I can't get there yet. But anyway, this truck, if the board approves it, we'll have it back in the fleet by the end of the week. Parts have been ordered. It's sitting at the shop waiting for everybody to say, okay, get it done. We do have another truck. It's a 2016 Dodge 4500. That truck died on us on the last snowstorm, and that truck needs an electronic control module in the engine. That's a $3,500 repair.
Wow.
Yeah, none of this is cheap.
Well, look at the price of the truck itself. So in comparison, it's
Well,
not
that's what I'm
huge.
trying to wrap
Yeah,
my head around. How do
Yeah.
I spend $250,000
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know, it just, I can't make
Yeah.
sense of it.
But I think the other point that you may want to share with people again, and when you brought Dave on board, one of the other things that you guys do, your maintenance plan after these storms is completely different. I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
cleaning everything that hadn't been cleaned, and
Grease, oil, all of it.
so get the salt off the bottom. It'll stop
Yeah,
that.
We're on it. The damage has been done from the past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Still playing
Yeah.
catch up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's the frame on that truck at 04? How's the frame?
The frame was painted last year, so the frame is good. The actual truck, that's actually the truck that I run. I like it.
It works.
Yeah.
It works.
It's an old man, an old truck. It's good.
You know, while we're on the subject, then I'd like to make a motion that we approve repairing the 2004 International 7400 at Junior's for $8,461.
Could you amend that and not put the dollar amount in case something comes up? Let's just give them a little leeway there. I
All
think
right.
just because they've done such a good job finding parts, but if any little thing goes wrong, I'd just give them a little leeway.
All right. How much leeway?
10%, I don't know. I'd say up to
Okay,
9,000.
up to 9,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you. Take this off our list. Thank you, Councilman. All right. Anybody else have any questions for the superintendent? None? We're good? Thank you very much.
Thanks for all your good work, you and your crew during all these ice and snowstorms.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. The roads look good.
You and
Thank
the
you.
park guys really keep everything nice and clear.
Safe.
We work together.
I see that.
All right, thank you, sir. How about a town clerk report?
Thank you. So in the world of dogs and cats, there is a free rabies clinic offered by Dutchess County SPCA on Saturday, February 19th. It's going to run from 8 to 12 p.m. at the Violet Avenue address, which is 635 Violet Ave. The phone number is 845-452-7722. And you can register online and also by calling, but you must pre-register. So we'll share this on the town's Facebook page in case any residents want to participate in it. That's all I
Great.
have.
It's free. That's pretty
It
good.
is free. Yeah, thanks to Dutchess
Thank
County.
you. Any public comments on agenda items? Okay, we're going to go to our Conservation Advisory Council. Do you have that? Anybody have that out? Do
Yes, I have.
you want to read that,
Okay.
Councilman?
Yes. Conservation Advisory Report to the Town Board, February 16th, 2022, submitted by Lisa Martell, Secretary, and Jen Rubo, Chairman. The Conservation Advisory / Climate Smart Community Committee has been hard at work planning new projects for 2022. First off, we were awarded a $5,000 grant for a project that will reduce energy usage in the town and have chosen to use the money to build a composting toilet for the equestrian center. In the next month, we will be working on the design so that the materials can be purchased and installation can begin. We are exploring the possibility of a pollinator garden and possibly beehives at the solar panel site. Local
EPRS.
APS, please come forward to share your expertise. Also, now that our natural resources inventory is completed, we are looking to incorporate its use in the town planning decisions. And finally, our food for thought programs for 2022 are shaping up nicely. On October 2nd, October 3rd, rain date, the Mid-Hudson Astronomical Association will lead a stargazing night at Timor Park. The fall date makes it possible to stargaze early in the evening, so this will be a great event for families. We also are looking into the birds of prey demonstration. Details to be advised.
Great. You're doing a nice job. All right, thank you. Next up, we'll move in our departmental reports. We'll start with Parks and Recreation. Our Parks Manager, Mr. Jake Gosnell, is here. Do you want? No, you're going to sit over at that. Yeah. Oh, you need 1 second. Here you go. Just bear with us for a minute. We're fixing the computer up. There we go. Thank you, Andrew. All right. Go right ahead, sir. Are you live? Is it Kathy? Yeah. Okay, Kathy. I'll change your name while you're,
Oh, I got it.
you got it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I just came in from one of our full moon hikes.
Unmute for a second. Sorry. There you go.
I just came in from one of our full moon hikes down in the park. We did 2 miles around the dam and such and back up to the soccer fields. We had about 12 people. It was very nice. The moon actually came out. It's not overly cloudy. Very nice. I'll start and I will read the rec report done by Allison Croak. Summer camp registration is open, is off to a good start. About 50 registrants for each session of camp so far. So that's really strong considering we're only mid-February.
Yep.
Which is awesome. Maggie and Allison have been busy with interviews and planning for camp and pool staff for the summer. They just had a great Valentine's Day party with the after school program last week on Friday. In addition to summer camp preparation and programming, they're working on the upcoming spring events, the Egg Hunts for All on April 16th and TGTT Spring Break, April 11th through the 18th. So those
Great,
are all
they've been
things you have to
busy,
register
yep.
for.
Now,
And then
Parks?
Park support, we've been doing a lot of indoor projects lately just because the weather's been so brutal. And I really want to thank my guys, Adam and Vincent. They worked pretty hard in the senior room. They stripped down the floors, they re-waxed them. Everything looks really, really nice in there, which is great because the senior room's seen a lot of use in the last 2 years with COVID and having, full day programs in there with kids learning. So it's been awesome. We've had, like Ed said, a lot of messy, snowy, more ice days than anything. And then we're in the process of prepping all our equipment for spring, just doing maintenance on it, all of our machinery. And another reminder to everybody, when you come here to go sleigh riding, please do not park along Duncan Road. Park in either the town hall lot or park down in the park lot.
We got some good new signs out.
Yeah, we did sign it and
It's
people
helping.
still park there.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. And like I've said, all of last season, it's still raining. Now it snows a little bit too, but it's still super wet and raining. So.
You didn't mention the courtroom.
Oh yeah, we painted the courtroom.
Painted the
Another
courtroom.
indoor project.
Oh, very
Yeah,
good.
looks great. And they're most appreciative. The whole, the courtroom and the offices and everything looks really great. So I think since you're here, we should go ahead and talk about your truck situation.
Sure.
This is the season of truck difficulties.
Yes, this is the season of broken vehicles.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and explain it to everybody and the board so they can.
Yeah, I know that Betsy had touched base with you guys about this at the
the work
last
session,
work
yeah.
session. We have a 2015 Ford F-350 and we have a 2015 Ford F-450 dump truck. Both are turbo diesels. We do not work as hard with our trucks as the highway department does, meaning, we're not hauling things that are as big as, what you guys use. Our 350, gets used to run us around town, pick up materials, stuff like that. And with it being a turbo diesel, we are having a lot of problems with the exhaust system on it and the pollution control on that. And we've had a lot of discussions because we've spent quite a lot of money on the F-350. It only has 37,000 miles on it. And in the past 14 months, it's been in the shop a lot. So it's just a question of what we think the best option is for that truck. We are having exhaust issues with the 450 dump truck right now as well, but we have not had any problems up to this point with the exhaust system on that truck. That's the truck we used to haul the mowers with when we go to Godfrey Park, when we go to the dump, things like that. So that gets worked a little bit harder, but that truck only has 17,000 miles on it. So we I feel like we maintain our trucks very well. The guys are really on top of it. We stay on top of it, but we've even had discussions with Ford that there's really not much we can do as far as the emissions controls go on these trucks. We just don't drive them enough.
So at the work session, or at the last meeting, whenever it was, we were last together. We discussed a plan, and it was interesting because both Jake and our highway superintendent told me that for these low mileage trucks, we should not have diesel. And that's what the service, so you're agreeing, that's what the service manager, just so everybody understands, because then you're going to tell them your plan.
Mhm.
So with the bill, the most recent bill to fix this Ford, we've spent $10,300 on a 2015 model.
In the last 14
And it's
months.
most of it, and the service manager called, and most of it is this diesel related stuff that Kevin, Councilman Derlin, all about this. So his advice to us was same thing that you told me last month, which was that don't buy diesels for your parks department, leave those to the highway department and the guys that are really pulling hard stuff. So tell everybody your plan.
So, in talking with my guys and talking with Ed some, our thought was we looked into what we could possibly get for this truck. And, if we put it up for auction with the low miles, with the plow on it, chances are we could get upwards of $50,000 for it. So the thought was to auction the 350, go out for state bid and replace it with a V8, gasoline V8.
Smart. Sounds like a good plan.
And then, but no,
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
so here's the question. This is your department. You guys, please advise. Do you auction the truck now while it's just been repaired and it's in the best shape and get a higher price for it, and then not know how long it's going to take on state bid? I think you put your order in, right?
We
To
did.
try to get a
We
quote
should
to
know
share
we should, if we even get a quote back, we should have it back by tomorrow at 5 p.m.
the quote.
Yeah.
So that will be shared. We'll email that out so everybody can see it. But my question was when the gentleman from Friendly Ford told us that they've ordered 200 new trucks and they've been guaranteed 2. And the neighboring Ford said the bigger dealership said he ordered 500 and he's guaranteed 4. So I'm wondering, it's going to be a while before Jake gets that truck. So how do we, do you auction it now or do you wait? What does everybody think?
Can you operate with one truck? It'd be tough, right?
It's tough. It's not great. Right now with the dump truck down where we have, the Dodge that we have worked out an agreement that we'll use for the winter, but yeah, with one truck, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's not great. And especially with the snow, I know it's going to be 60 degrees tomorrow, but winter's not over yet, and if we get hit with the storm, it's going to be.
And even in the spring, I'm
It's-
sure
yeah.
we got a lot of things to do.
So
Can you get a truck off the lot without ordering it through state?
I don't know how that works.
There aren't any, are there? I think the
so.
inventories are all really low.
And what the price
Yeah.
difference would be.
From
to
state
off the
bid.
lot.
And I don't know if state bid will be different. I don't know if it's because it's state bid, they have access.
But when we purchased this truck, when we, yeah, if they'll skip all the extras, but when we looked at this truck, this particular truck,
Mhm.
was bought through state bid, and even though it was diesel, but I don't remember the price, but it was a great price.
Yeah, it was significantly lower than list.
It was in the 30s or something.
John, the fire department ordered that chief's car through state bid, right?
That was 11 months later than we expected it when we
Yeah.
ordered it. It was a Chevy Tahoe.
And that was.
We got a
before-
very low price, but instead of getting it in November of 2020, we got it in, I think, September of 21.
And that was before all the chip problems, the shortage of chips and stuff, right?
Well, that was part of the problem,
It
but
was, okay.
anything on bid is the lower priority for manufacturers.
Yeah,
and
so it's like
dealers.
14 months or
So
so.
if you're going for state bid, you better be very patient.
And I mean, the truck, when it is fixed, runs great.
Mm-hmm.
My only drawback was if we use it again and we use it for a while, the check engine light comes on again and we have to take it back in and its emissions controls, it has never been a cheap fix. So that's my conundrum. with
dilemma.
that truck.
Would you just take it up Blueberry Mountain once a week?
I've asked all those questions and basically the service manager was like, it doesn't really matter what you do,
There's 2,000 miles on this truck.
Yeah,
This truck has no mileage on it.
yeah, like
He said they're just not working it hard enough. It's got, how many miles?
it's got 37.
Oh, it's 37. Okay, about 2,000 a year. or something.
Yeah. It's, so
It's got depth or something.
def.
So why don't we leave it open now? And
Yep.
when the quote comes in.
Yeah, we can go from there.
We'll go from there and
Okay.
maybe, things will get better and you give some more thought to if you could do without a truck, what would that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how
It
you're,
would be a bit of a mess, but.
yeah.
Can you buy a used one?
Yeah, but you're gonna pay.
You still
Yeah,
have.
you wouldn't pay.
premium.
Used cars and trucks are up
Yeah,
to
it's
40% price wise.
It's- yeah.
Yeah, if you can find it.
Sure.
Why can't you order a truck now, wait it out, and then sell that truck?
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's the thought as
Maybe there'd
well.
be one more repair in there
Yeah,
and,
Because you are selling for a higher price right now than what you would get ordinarily.
Definitely.
And a new truck is just gonna be at list or lower.
Yep.
So we'd be making out, even if there was some other repairs.
yeah, because I mean, like, right now, we would definitely make out.
Yeah.
So
all right, well, keep your eye on the market.
How often is it breaking down?
in the last 14 months, it's been in 5 times.
Can they not warranty their work? I mean,
Every 2
it's the
months.
same thing.
The
over-
problem is there are 6 different components in the diesel exhaust system with the diesel exhaust fluid and the pumps and the heaters and the EGR valves.
The brackets.
And you go down the list and
Right, I know.
you
but
start
I've
with
had
one
problems
and
similar.
at this, yeah, and at this point,
Yeah.
we've replaced 4 out of the 6
Okay.
pieces on.
No, we've only got 2 left.
You got 2 to go.
Yeah,
Keep fixing it.
Hopefully those ones
Yeah.
are cheap.
so,
Oh, boy. Well, all right. Well, you keep us posted when you get
Yep.
when you get the quote, we'll distribute that and at
okay,
least,
and then we can go from
yeah,
there.
we'll have a follow-up.
Okay,
Great.
you got it.
Thank you so much.
Yep, you're
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this
Appreciate
all
you
gets
coming
back
in.
to the diesel emissions technology. It's not what it should be.
No, that's what the service manager
Yeah,
was
it's just
saying.
made it
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah, they comply with the federal guidelines, but they didn't develop the technology sufficiently to have it very practical.
Yeah.
So anybody with a diesel truck is suffering.
Well, and then the service manager was explaining to me, and Ed, you might have, he said, it's a macho thing. That he said, why you guys bought a diesel for your park, I don't know, because there are a lot of guys out there that think that's the truck to own. And he said, for low mileage, for what we're doing in the parks, he said, you just don't need to pay up for that.
Yeah.
So that's good for the future.
Same reason why Ed wants to hang outside 04. It's got very little emissions, right?
All right. Well, Jake, thank you so much. Thanks
Yep.
for being here
You are
after
welcome.
that hike.
You
You've had a
got it.
long day. We appreciate it.
We'll do another one, I believe it's in May, mid-May. We do our next hike and then the one after that will be in September.
So
So
how did the dam and the pond look?
it looks really nice.
Nice, right? In the
Some
sun.
really loud coyotes, which was cool.
Oh,
Yeah, it was fun. Sneak.
great. Oh, boy. All right. Thank you so much. We're going to move on now. I think next up, we're going to have our Constables Report.
I have it here.
You have it?
Want me to do it?
All right, Councilman Derlin, you want to read it? Oh, John, you've already got it out. No, he's, okay.
Kevin's got it.
Kevin's got it. Thank you, Jake. Good night.
Good night. Constables patrolled approximately 437 miles of town roads, including all town properties, filling the spoiled with 32.1 gallons of gas. The 3 town court dates total 44 cases on the dockets with 29 actual appearances, and there were no incidents to report. Constables reported the following during patrols. On 1-2, spoke with vehicle parked on North Club Road between On the Green and Burbank Club Road. Operator stated she was viewing Christmas lights and would leave. 118, 3 use with vehicle parked on Duncan Road, sledding after dark, immediately left upon request. 128, spoke with resident on O'Brien Hill Road regarding 2 vehicles parked on town roads during snowstorm, impeding clouds, traffic cleared snow. They explained town ordinance of no parking on town roads, November 15th through April 15th. Explained ticket will be issued if cars continue to be parked on the road. Respectfully submitted, George Treadwell.
Excellent, thank you. It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
We should put that on your Facebook page every winter and send it out just to remind people because they do forget. Next up is our animal control report. Councilman, anybody want to read that one? Councilman Derlin, you're on a roll.
I got you. All right. Unionville Animal Control Officers Report, December 2021. During the month of December, there were no lost dogs, no found dogs, and no dog complaints. There was one miscellaneous call regarding a trapped cat. For confidential reasons, more specific information regarding dates, parties involved can be accessed on the Animal Control Officer's logbook. Submitted to Mayor Gene Calvi. January 2022, during the month of January, there were no lost dogs, no found dogs, 2 dog complaints, 1 follow-up to a recent court case, and 1 wildlife call. And for the same reasons before, you can access the Animal Control logbook if you need more information. Respectfully submitted, Mary G. Calvi.
Well done, thank you. Did you see that bobcat in Wappinger? That 40-pound bobcat that's eating house pets?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, out walking around with the coyote, you have to be careful. Just keep them locked up or in a fence. Next up is our old business. This is a conversation I wanted to have with the councilman. In our last couple of meetings, we've talked about the bus safety program. Everybody thinks it's a good idea to try to deter people from speeding around a school bus where a child could be crossing in front of it. In one of our last meetings, I think it was in January, we voted on our own court fine that would be in place. Of the people that are caught, about 3 or 4, they kind of give me different, 3 to 5%, let's say, will contest their bus safety ticket because they don't go into the website or they don't see the photo of themselves. So we've got that. But I have to say, I really, so the OSC, the Office of the State Comptroller, they are not budging at all about the amount of money they take from the town of Unionville. For all towns, they must have a fee. So this program, the way that it works now is if you're photographed passing a bus, say a school bus, you're going to get hit with a $250 ticket. The town will get 10% of that for doing nothing. We just get 10%, that 90% goes to the county. And then part of that, they're splitting with this bus patrol company. All right, now what happens is when they contest, if somebody contests it and they were ticketed in Unionville, then they come to the Unionville courthouse. So if they come to the Unionville courthouse, they have informed on these conference calls I have to go to that Unionville will have a prosecutor there and we can add our own court fee, but they want to make sure that person pays that fine. So the prosecutor is supposed to prosecute and get the fine. All right. Now, I wrote them back after we had our last discussion and we imposed our fines. I confirmed that if our fine, which the first we came up with $150. So when we have anything that happens in our courthouse, 100% of it gets shipped to Albany and they send us back a check for 10%. So we keep only 10% of what goes on in the courthouse, which is why our courthouse loses money, a lot of money every year, but it's a service that we provide and we want to provide it and we have to provide it. If we were on the Taconic, where a lot of towns are along the Taconic, those guys are making between 250, I heard of one town making almost $1 million a year on fines just from traffic on the Taconic. We're not in that category. So when we brag that nothing ever happens in Unionville, well, that's a good thing, nothing, but not in our courthouse either. So what the concern I have is that to me, this is a county program and it's a for-profit program, frankly, for this bus patrol company. I believe in the safety side of it, but I don't know why the county isn't prosecuting in their own courthouse in Poughkeepsie instead of forcing it to come to the Unionville.
Probably not profitable.
Yeah, maybe I don't know why they're not, but we'll find out. I sent in the question. But in our case, we would have a prosecutor come, and we have this wonderful prosecutor that we have started from Vanderwater, our legal firm. And so a new woman is prosecuting some important cases for us, but she's going to run over here. Let's say I'm guessing, let's say it's $200 an hour. I'm going to use $200. It could be 400, but let's say it's 200. We're going to get $25 for our 10% on the ticket. And then if we charge them 150, we're going to get 15% that the OSC lets us keep. And then we're going to get $40 for every contested bus safety ticket, right?
Yeah,
And we're going to have the
it's gonna cost us.
prosecutor that they're saying she has to come. So I wrote them and I said, listen, sometimes our the prosecutors will drop it down to a parking fee, or they'll dismiss it. And these guys are trying to say they don't want that to happen, but I don't think they have a choice once it gets in the courtroom. I
It's the
think
judge's decision.
I
only.
would think, but they haven't written me back to confirm that, which is a little troubling, but I'm just wondering why it shouldn't be prosecuted somewhere else. I don't mind getting the 10% for not doing anything. And we all want the kids to be safe. We're not against the program, but we don't have to sign anything. But do you have any opinions about this? To me, it's really odd that we're being forced to take those cases and we're being forced to prosecute.
Probably due to the jurisdiction that it occurred in, I'm thinking.
That's why, but they could still send them to I think they could take county cases at the county courthouse. But
Well,
we're in
maybe check with the judge, see if we could not accept certain cases like those, since we do not have a prosecutor on a regular basis.
try to push back.
Yeah.
Well, I've written them those
It's beyond our
questions.
capability, our normal capabilities.
It just doesn't make sense for us. If there's 5%, we'll see. I also said, we can watch it for a while and see what happens, but it makes no sense for us to prosecute these cases
The only
here.
way to do is kick the can, so I can only have that court date once a year,
Yeah, there you go.
right?
Then she could be here all day. She could have 500 cases and just be here all day. It'd be worth it.
You just say, all right, this is the day which time on top already, extended. Some of us lucky ones have got tickets like 3 years ago and then COVID hit.
Yeah, COVID hit something. No, but they do aggregate and they do try to spread them out. So, but there probably is some limitation. You're right.
But I mean, often I've gotten tickets and not having go to court for a year.
Yeah, right now that's what's happening. So,
That's common, I think, before COVID. Yeah.
well, so let's try to see. Let's see what the volume looks like, and we'll try to push back. I'll let you know what the answers to those questions are. We asked them to exclude those court fees from the OSC's grab because then we could actually cover the cost.
Yeah.
We just want to cover the cost. But anyway, well, I'll keep you posted on that.
Have we
And
heard anything from the other towns that are starting already? Because they started already. right?
well, there's I don't think the small towns had really thought about it, because when I sent it out to some of the supervisors, they hadn't really thought about it that way. Even some of the small towns have incredibly vibrant and high volume courtrooms. The big towns, they'll aggregate these cases and they'll be there. We'll have, 70, 100, 300 cases on a night. So it's not important to them.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, for us, it's important. And as we like to say, we're in the nickel and dime business. We have to watch all of our pennies. So for us, it's important to watch. So anyway, we'll see what they
And we're
say.
one of the few small towns without either Route 22 or the Conic going through.
Yeah.
So our tickets are very minimal.
The reason this is such a nice place to live is that we don't even write littering tickets, which the sign clearly says $500. So we are not aggressive about bothering people. But we're gonna try to take care of the littering problem. You're right. The courtroom is never busy, and it's a good spot to live. All right, now next up is this the NYSERDA. We did get, as the CAC told us, which they were very excited about, we did get awarded the $5,000 for the community being a climate smart community. So we did get that, and like I said before, we're going for bigger grants. So stay tuned about that. Now we have new business. We are going to talk about the moratorium. So basically, we want to address this, and then in 2 weeks, when we reconvene at the first Wednesday in March, we'll have March 2nd, right? We will have a resolution of introduction. But just to be clear, the planning board has come and shared with us some of the difficulties they're having with the town center zone. In addition to by difficulties, I mean that there are applications that are having a hard time getting things done. And Kevin, I'm not looking at Kevin Derlin as chair. You knew that for a long time. So they've had, there's some restrictions in that town zone, that zoning area that may have been appropriate 30 years ago or 20 years ago and 30 longer, but no longer important because LaGrange is all built up, but so is Beekman. So we are now, according to the planner that we're engaging, in a really good spot because we can take a pause like we're planning to do with the moratorium, look at the town center zone, and then say, what do we want that area to look like? Do we want to have design standards, which she's recommending? Do we want to keep it as rural as everybody says, in the master plan? It'll be consistent with the master plan, but we're in a really lucky spot because of what has grown up around us, so to speak. So in 2 weeks, when we're back, we're going to have a resolution of introduction and it'll outline the moratorium, which will really be a pause on any applications coming in so that we can look at the barriers and try to make the place a little more viable for people that, as long as it's consistent with the town's goals and the master plan, I think we're going to be doing a good thing for ourselves. So does anybody else have anything they wanted to add? I think that's about where we are with it.
Yeah, I think the fact that we've had so little activity there. I mean, look how many years we tried to sell that property we had, which was a nice piece of property, but we found out that the town center zoning was not very attractive to potential buyers of that property and developers. So
look, we're lucky we kept it.
Yeah, but the bottom line is we've got to
You learned firsthand.
face reality now that things are changing. We better reassess our whole zoning right there and see what we can do to improve it so we meet our goals and get potential activity there that's going to help the town.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting because Pat Cardellemi, the chair of the planning board, we've had this conversation, but if you want to plan a certain type of planned mixed use development, as we were talking to Lolita about, there's a menu and you can pick 3 off the menu. And a lot of them are things we don't really want, like an office park or a shopping center, things like that right there that are no longer needed. So it's a good time to take a look at it. And I think the planning board would appreciate it because if we can make changes, they're going to give us an awful lot of strong recommendations and then we can make it happen. It'll look and feel the way we want. Okay. So I think, let me add, don't forget, we had a board meeting several months ago about private driveways or common driveways and private roads. And everybody was looking at the map and everybody felt confident or comfortable that we want to make those private roads up to town road standards.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a discussion with that. And I'd like the fire advisory board too, to come in and comment about turning radiuses and, things like that. So we're going to incorporate our planners. What she's going to do is she's going to refer to those road standards in the town, in the sections that we're going to be cleaning up. So that'll be another discussion we have.
Okay.
All right. So what we talked about, I'm assuming we're still all on that same page about bringing the standards up, and I know it'll help the highway superintendent and his crew. So that's coming as part of this, but
That'll
that'll
help everybody.
definitely help the town. All right, discussion tonight is about establishing a registry for bed and breakfast or Airbnbs. And Councilman Gusikoff mentioned this earlier. We had an incident that one of our nice residents, Sue Kilcrease, called and said, I was just walking and there are 16, she said 15, and it was one more. It was worse than she thought. 16 bags of garbage somebody had thrown over the guardrail on West Clove Mountain Road. And so because everybody was trying to pitch in, the highway crew was busy on roads. Councilman Gusikoff went over there with his son and couldn't find them because it was in a different section. And then we went over at 1 o'clock. So we had lots of teams trying to come clean up those bags. We finally found them. And full of garbage, right? It looked like somebody had cleaned out their refrigerator. It looked like somebody said, there's a couple of Airbnbs here.
Not just the fridge.
Yeah, 16 bags. It was
And
lots of
animals had
food.
torn some of them because they smell food and it was starting to make a mess.
No
In the snow.
addresses or anything like that?
Nothing we could find.
I did find a paper plate that had the Wi-Fi passcode on it. And the other thing that would be horrible, if it were an Airbnb person, a homeowner that was renting out their house, there was a fork in there, one of their actual silver or sterling silver fork, silver plated forks. So their cutlery was in the trash along with all this food. And Sue Kilcrease and her husband Dana were awfully worried about animals coming after dark and ruin, kind of tearing them up. So we did get them to the recycling center, but the question came up. So this is just for discussion. How do we feel about setting up a registry? You come to town hall, you have to register your Airbnb. There could be a permit for to cover administrative costs. And then we would have a master list of owners. And I went, the residents should chime in on this too. But if they hear this and can send emails, we'd have a master list of owners and we could pick up the phone and say, are you giving your renters instructions? We don't know if you had somebody there this weekend, but this happened and you want to know. And the other side, I was thinking, if we did do something like this, we could encourage people to use the recycling center when they move out, that kind of thing. So it would be a new thing for our town because we're rather hands off. But on the other hand, George Kolb had said that most towns I know do have registries. And they do conduct fire safety inspections, especially when the owner asks them to, or if they feel like it's been up and running for a couple of years and somebody says something, they go over and do a fire safety inspection. So what do you guys think about something like that so that we could get in touch with folks if we have inordinate amounts of trash coming right next to 2 Airbnbs? I'm not saying they did it. I don't know, but.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Do you think it came from those locations or?
Somebody else guessed that and shared that with me. I hadn't thought, I didn't know there were 2 Airbnbs, but when you go and look them up, there's houses in Unionville that we're not familiar with, or that I would never have known were Airbnbs. So somebody else came up with that, somebody that lives near there. So maybe they could be right because they probably see traffic coming and going.
And it was household trash. It wasn't like.
It's all kitchen stuff. Half-filled bottles of food, beer cans, soda cans, fruit drinks.
Ham, chicken.
Yeah, cold cuts and still in
I just
packages.
didn't know if it's construction free too or if it's.
No.
Strictly. somebody
Usually it is. You're right.
cleaned
Usually it is.
out either several refrigerators and cupboards and whatever.
It was odd.
Cleaning out for the next rentals to go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the rent, get those cameras installed. Well, that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, we need those there.
Yeah.
That will help. I just think that, and somebody did say to me who runs an Airbnb that they wouldn't mind getting called if their resident, somebody they had rented to, had done something like that. Because then they would, be able to handle that. And that would be good information for them to have either when they're talking about them on Airbnb. Because I think most renters do give, owners do give renters instructions on what to do with trash, I would think.
Yeah, and I thought those Airbnbs had like a process of who's renting, what their background is, what their.
Yeah,
what
but it's
their
very,
family
it's very easy to
I think
rent.
if they had.
People can give false information on there.
Sure.
It's not like going to.
Or somebody rents it, somebody else occupies.
That's right.
It is very easy to rent it, though.
Yeah.
I'm a hands-off person. We've talked about it. I don't like regulation. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do in my own house. I had an Airbnb. It was awesome. I think the people that own Airbnbs probably take care of their house better than a lot of other people would take care of their house, because they've got to constantly turn it over.
Yeah, it's got to look good.
If you're gonna get into regulation, then you can start regulating people's lawns and what other people's houses generally look like.
Yeah, good
As
point.
opposed to an Airbnb, and I know that there's garbage in the road one time. Can you tie it to that? Not necessarily, was it maybe, possibly, but.
Well, it just, what it did, it raised the question.
It
Yeah.
certainly begs the question. I'm just throwing out
Yeah.
maybe the other side of it.
Now, let me ask you, since you you know how this works, the county is also, they're imposing an 8.5% tax on these Airbnb. Does that automatically just go into the total tax package? Because, I think they automatically add this stuff to it.
I don't, to be honest, I don't remember. Well, it didn't when I had it.
It just rolls into one sum, I think.
It was all one sum, and Airbnb took out whatever their fee was.
Yeah.
Airbnb would probably pay the taxes, I would think.
I don't know.
And then they pay the county?
I don't know, I mean, maybe.
I asked the
think
county, I
that
sent
that's
them a
something
note.
Progressing, you
Yeah.
know, beyond just one person renting, you know, it's a bigger thing with Airbnb, but.
When you purchase something online, it's, the taxes are generally taken out for county or state.
Yeah.
It's programmed. Yeah, I think you're right, because they definitely mentioned they wanted their piece. So I think, for example, in the other towns, what they're doing is they're regular, like, can you imagine some of these places, some of the towns that are, maybe they have a very thriving Airbnb business, so they want the tax money from it. But also they give, the residents are complaining, so they're only allowed to rent it for so many days or this. We don't have that problem because people are spread out very nicely here. But they really are regulating in other towns. I just want to make sure that we don't, if we haven't thought about a safety issue that we should be aware of. God bless you.
I mean, I would think that Airbnb, like I said before, they probably vet, you know, that there's a vetting process for who's renting, you know, what's your review or record of the renting.
I mean, there certainly is for the people that rent the house. I mean, if somebody keeps coming to your house and it's disgusting, you don't get to be a super host or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
You know, there's sort of a little bit of a checks and balances within the system to keep you honest.
So let's do this. Let's talk to the residents, talk to people, see if there's if anybody has any fears or concerns about it, and then we can take it up again. But in the meantime, I think those cameras are going to be our friend. So,
Yeah,
all right.
that'd be more beneficial, the cameras.
All right. Thank you very much. Next up, the master, let me just mention that there is one of the things that we always do after the other policies and procedures is the master fee schedule. Everybody got this. There were two changes in the master fee schedule this year. One was the CIT program in recreation is now called a teen leadership camp, and the pricing changed. So you will see on the inside of page 2, at the top, there was a change there. And then in the subdivisions on the bottom of page 2, I know Chairman Cardellemi and I have been reviewing this. It was a little confusing, but now a minor subdivision says 2 to 4 lots and a major subdivision says 5+. There was a discrepancy between the way it was written somewhere else. So we just switched to the discrepancy. Those are the only changes to the master fee schedule for the year. So we want to pass that tonight so we can make sure everybody has it.
Is George signed off on these? Does he think they're?
Oh, yeah, Georgia made all of his changes last year.
Yeah, but I'm saying he continues, feel these are appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he had a very busy year last year, but the fee schedule, I think, helped. So we will go through that motion when we finish up. Let me move on. Just tonight, we did discuss this also in a previous meeting. You know, we're going to have a resolution of introduction about the seniors. In the last meeting, we passed this is all for tax assessments and for tax filing and getting exemptions for our seniors. So last month, we passed an exemption that allowed seniors during this COVID time not to have to come to register for one of their exemptions because they were just going to automatically get it if they'd gotten it last year. This exemption this time, which I know we've reviewed, I just want to make sure it's clear. This exemption, which we would talked about passing, is to permit seniors who have not for some reason filed on timely, they would have all the way up to grievance day in the case of illness or death. And this is, for example, you have to have a physician's note. For example, sometimes somebody goes into the hospital and their child comes to take care of them and they didn't know they were supposed to meet that deadline. They miss it. So it extends it to grievance day.
Yeah.
I think we're good there. Okay. Now we're going to go through this next part of the meeting is to go through the motions, and then we're going to do I'm reordering that what was on there because it went on the second page. We're going to reorder we'll do the motions and then we'll do the resolutions. And I'm going to suggest, because of, I know it's been a long night, we're already after 9 o'clock. We're going to waive the reading of the resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to read them entirely because they're already posted on the web. And these resolutions are really just to introduce the fact that we're going to have a public hearing next month. So they'll be on the web. Everybody can read. There's 2 new proposed local laws, and everybody can read them. So I'm going to suggest we waive them. But right now, let's do the motions. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the master fee schedule for 2022 as changed and distributed? Give me, have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Thank you.
We did the next one already for June, for truck number 4.
Yes.
Yes, and then, yes. All right, so the next one is, anybody want to make that one? Okay,
Make the motion 12.2, motion to approve planner Dan Stolzenberg's scope of work for the TC zone. I'd like to authorize the supervisor to sign the document.
great. I'll, may I have a second?
Kevin said.
Thank you. All in favor? Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Thank you. That motion carries. The next motion, 12.5. Oh.
I'd like to make the motion approving the proposal for library consultant Alex Cohen, and I'd like to authorize the supervisor to sign the document.
All right, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I didn't,
Yeah, we have. to go
oh, we're coming back because those are resolutions.
Yeah,
We're going to do all the motions first. I reordered it. Sorry, Kevin. Okay, all in favor of, did we pass that?
yeah.
We did pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Okay. Motion 12.6, would somebody move?
I'll make the motion for 12.6, the motion authorizing settlement agreement with the DC workers comp plan. I'd like to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor? Say
Aye.
aye. Any noes? Any opposed? Nope. Okay, that one will be taken care of. Now we'll go back.
Okay.
Local law number 1,
Yeah,
Councilman
regarding
Welsh.
local law number 1, I'd like to offer resolution of introduction to permit seniors to file tax exemption up to grievance day if they haven't filed because of illness or death. The public hearing will be held on this 4 weeks from tonight, March 16th, where everyone will be heard with any comments.
Thank you. Is, may I have a second, please?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Gussakoff.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. All right, the resolution of introduction for local law number 1 passes. At this point, who'd like to offer? Councilman Derland?
I move that we adopt a resolution of introduction to authorize a change in residency requirement for planning board members and alternates. Currently, only qualified electors can qualify, and we would like to open the pool of applicants to include people who own a parcel of real property, which is partly in Unionville. The resolution of introduction and the local law will be on the website for a month. The public hearing will be on March 16th at 7 o'clock, when everyone can come and share their views.
Thank you for offering that resolution. May I have a second?
No discussion.
Second first. It has, we need a
I'll
motion and a second. Second. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, this resolution, I think right now we have, what, 5 applicants that are residents that came to the planning board to fill this vacancy?
I think so,
Is there
yeah.
5?
4.
I don't feel at this point in time there's a need to go forward with expanding that, because it seems like we have a pool of qualified, at least some qualified people.
Anybody else? Any other discussion? All right, roll call vote. Henry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to just get back in the room. Councilman Gussakoff.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Nay.
Councilman Derland.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye. All right, resolution to expand the potential pool for planning board and alternate workers passes. Again, that will be on the website and we will have a public hearing and we'd enjoy talking about it on March 16th. So everybody can read the details then. Okay. I think that takes care of the motions and the resolutions for the evening. Thank you very much. May I have a motion to approve the budget? Sorry,
Budget adjustments.
the budget
transfers,
adjustments, which we don't have, but we
And
do
pay
want to pay the bills.
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, all in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Okay, is there any public comments on town issues?
You got somebody here.
I'm someone, what's going on with this solar people, the solar city, is town getting their cut, their reduction on,
Not yet. So what's going on, I tried to reach, it's a Central Hudson problem. So basically what's going on is that, and the state did change the rules. Central Hudson upgraded their billing system. The state did change the rules. They were always going to use a third party. And I believe the state's trying to get these utility companies to do it internally. Before you were going to, do you remember way back when Wendy was here talking about you get your Central Hudson bill and then you get the credits from somebody else? I believe the state's trying to pull those together. Anyway, I have been told that Central Hudson has promised they're going to have it fixed within a month. All the credits are retroactive. Everything's going to be, we haven't even gotten ours yet. So I called them even as a resident and a client saying, hey, not only do the residents, but the town hasn't seen any credits. And it's Central Hudson. They promised they're fixing it. And they told me in a month. So I'm hoping for good news. We'll report on it when we get the news.
and when did they officially start pumping electricity into Central Hudson?
August 27th, they went operable, but that was testing and things. So I think I have them written in my calendar someday in September. Was officially, so it's September. I can give you that official date, but I know it's August 27th from when it went operable. We actually have a neat, I'll send it out in Unionville mail, and we should put it on the website. There's a really neat link now that we can all go to, and we can see how much energy our solar development is putting out. So we'll send that out, and it tells you what day it was first operable and things like that. What else? Any other questions? That's it?
No, I have lots, another day.
I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for bringing on someone for library services. I think it's.
I'm sure your wife will be happy since she's the library person in the family, right?
She's more than I do. I have a question about the motion. You just passed a motion to bring a consultant on to talk about, I think it's long-term library services.
Yes.
Any detail about statement of work, scope of work, deliverables, costs? I mean, anything you can share about what this person's doing?
Well, I was going to send out his document in Unionville mail so people could read it. It's like 7-9 pages, but we have a.
Yes, 9 pages.
Is it 9? Okay. And we forgot to mention this maybe in the comments that, that people interviewed. I interviewed him, and Councilman Welsh interviewed him, Councilman Gusikoff interviewed him. You guys can share your thoughts, but as I guessed in the last meeting, Councilman McGivney was asking me, I said, it's 15 to 20,000. It's 19,000. And the scope of work is exactly what we're looking for. It will be community engagement meetings. You can read it for yourself, but what we've asked for is, again, there's a small group, and you're one of them, who's very vocal on social media and other places, and that's fine, but we all know how you feel. We really need to get to a lot of people that don't do that, and that we want it. We need to know what everybody feels. We have a percentage of people that are pretty clear, and we have a lot of people that aren't clear. And so this man's gonna, through Zoom meetings, so people don't have to come in-person meetings, he's gonna try to get as many people out and talk through the situation and talk through what the future might look like and hear from everybody. So I'll send it out so everybody can read it. But we're very much looking forward to him starting in the next month or so, before, so.
And he lives in Unionville, right?
No, he does not.
Because we don't want money leaving Unionville, I thought.
Oh, but this is a good investment. This is something where the man's going to help us solve the problem. And I think that during that time period, we found that there was a lot of confusion, and we want to clear that up, and we want to solve the problem for everybody. So I'm sure you'll be happy. You can come to one meeting.
Not sure.
Well, then you don't have to come, but there are plenty of other people that we need to hear from, and I think that'll help. Anybody else have any other questions? Any other comments? We're very excited about this. It's a great turn of events.
I think it's a good idea. The community is a good idea. I just don't know what the scope was, what the responsibility.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, wait, I have one. Go back to the second 12.2. Is this available to the public? Is there anything written about this yet? Nan, and I'm not going to pronounce her last name.
Well, but we had a planner that left and we're replacing her. This woman, I could say that we get her bio. She's a real professional. She's been in the business for a long time. She has very much a rural sensibility. She has, which is terrific. I think she's married to a farmer for generations. And she currently is working on the comprehensive plan for the town of Washington. She's a lovely woman, very, just understands what Unionville's master plan says, understands what every resident says when you talk to them. Why do you live in Unionville? You know, I want to keep the rural character. She gets it, and she'll be a real asset for our TC discussion.
Her website is, the list of what she has on her website that she's done is
Very impressive.
very impressive.
Yeah, we'll send all that out on Unionville Mill. Franz will help you.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else have any questions? No?
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you for being here. Good night. Good night, Jeff.